Okay. I decided to make this video because there's a lot of people that wanted to know how I draw figures so fast, and I owe this to a person who wanted me to do it. So I'll keep it around so people don't keep asking me the same questions during streams. So the basic of the basic is to get your gesture down, and what a gesture is a line representation of the action that a model is taking, a model being in reality or in your head, whatever pose they're taking. And an action line could be as simple as that, and that should represent your flow of motion. And once you have your flow of motion established, you should start with the ribcage, then the pelvis, and then start working your way, and never ever stay in one place for too long. And bam, I have a dude not facing me, his back facing me. Wow. And that was like a few seconds. But the main thing is that when you're doing figures, you never want to stay in one place for too long, and you always want to have a line of action so that it looks natural, because when you build your figure around someone that something that is really natural, it looks natural. Way to expand on my words there. But you get what I mean, right? You know, here I have a person jumping, and it looks completely, I don't know, smooth, and looks like something someone would do. It's because I started with a line of action, and I didn't really stay anywhere for too long. See, the point about figure drawing and stuff is not to make it look perfect, because, you know, as I've said in my previous millions of streams, that the more you strive for perfect, the more you will never achieve it. So my advice to people is that when you study figures, when you look at magazines and you know, find references and all that fun stuff, draw them, but try to treat it as if they were a live model, that they can't really hold that pose for too long. And most live models can't. If any of you have had experience with living models, they don't stay in one place even during the pose, because first of all, it stresses the muscles and it hurts and makes them sore, and you know, it's inevitable that they would move sooner or later anyway. So you have to get the pose down as fast as you can, and the rest of it, you know, really is just studying shadows and the little curves, because the curves stay there. The curves of the muscles always stay, you know, like this curve, that curve, but that's not a curve, that's a bone. But you know, these muscle shapes always stay, so you can always come back and observe them. But what never stays is the pose, and you have to get that down, otherwise that'll disappear. And once you get that down, then you can start working on the figure. I'm not sure if this is a man or a woman anymore. So you know, that's really all the advice I could give you. And there is a difference between an open pose. I'll show you an open pose. If someone were to do a pose like this, it looks really weird first, right? Because it looks like nothing. And so we are going to start with the rib cage, hip, legs. Are you starting to see the figure? I am. And then deltoids. Best thing to go about this, I think, is also once you get the figure down, you also want to start building muscle shape. Actually, you don't want to go directly onto the contour line because it'll look really ugly. I'm not sure how to explain this, but what I'm doing right now, see, just representing all the muscles with really simple shapes. That's what I want people to do. Instead of going all the way just to the contour line, just line art, because I mean, I didn't really do this in the previous example. That's because I know anatomy well enough to actually skip it. So, but I still have to do it for poses that are more dynamic, like this one. And so once you get the muscle down, then you want to do line art and make it clean, and you'll find that this process applies to even things like environment. Just getting the basic shape down, the elements that make sense, that people want to see, that is obvious to them. And in a figure, that's just most of the body mass, right? We don't really stare at the fingers every time we see a person. I mean, we look at the face, but you know, we don't exactly examine all the details. And so in drawing, if you constantly worry about the details, you'll never get the figure right, because of how we are built mentally, that if we focus on details, we get really absorbed in it and we stop noticing everything around us. And this applies to a lot of other situations, not just drawing. If you don't see the big picture, you're never gonna be good at anything you do. But on the contrary, you also have to see the little details too. So life sucks, and we just have to deal with it. Find ways to deal with it anyway. So here I have a figure doing a really, really dynamic pose, or dynamic in her own way, and I did that pretty fast. And not that I'm asking any of you to strive to be really fast, but this is a good trick for everyone, is that if you get a model or a reference, or if you're good enough to draw out of your head, but you just happen to be one of those people that nitpick on their drawings a lot, the suggestion I have for you is practice doing this to force yourself to speed up, because that's gonna cause your hand to move really fast and not care about the details. Of course, this is gonna take a lot of mental resistance, because no matter what it is, it's a habit that you already have, and habits are really, really hard to get rid of. I know I still have a lot of bad habits in drawing, but I've changed a lot of it, and if I can do it, so can you, okay? So, basically this lesson summed up is, worry not about the little details, and speed up, because that's gonna force yourself to look at the big picture more than, so get a timer or a watch, and a figure can be done under 10 seconds. It's not impossible, but it takes practice. So I guess what you could do is decrease your time each time you practice with the timer, and you'll notice that once you start speeding up, that your hand or your brain is actually going to start ignoring all the details, because you just don't have enough time. And you know that 10 seconds isn't enough, and your brain will constantly try and convince you that, oh my god, it's not enough time, so we gotta do this fast, and not care about the details. And you'll notice too, if you actually do a 10-second session and then a 10-minute session, that during the 10-minute session, your brain tends to wander to little places like the fingers and the toes and the little details of the face and like skin, freaking, I don't know. So yeah, just try that, and good luck to everyone that watches this video. Bye bye.